Ever feel like your luck's just not there, like you're somehow magnetizing all the wrong vibes, dealing with one bad break after another? You're out here, heart full of good intentions, but it feels like the world's just out to get you? Maybe you've even thought you're cursed, destined never to catch a break. I've been down that road, tripping into every pitfall you can imagine. But here's the kicker, these aren't signs of some cosmic hex, they're about character traits that pull us into these cycles. Lately I've been diving into Jung's work, and it's like he's speaking directly to me, shedding light on what I've been feeling all these years. So today, I'm here to share a blend of his wisdom and my own journey. We're talking about flipping the script from attracting bad juju to welcoming good vibes, taking control of our own destiny. Welcome to my channel, a journey into the realm of self-help psychology. No matter what you're navigating through at this moment, please hold on to the belief that the world, together with me, holds you in a tender embrace of love. Let's dive into a fascinating topic: who's more likely to attract negativity? Imagine personality development as a journey through 3 distinct stages, as described by the legendary Carl Jung. Picture the first stage, containment, as this perfect bubble where everything's warm, safe, and just right. It's like living your own slice of paradise. Next, we venture into the adjustment phase. It's like stepping out of that cozy bubble into the big, wide world. Suddenly, you're seeing risks and challenges you've never noticed before. It's a bit like growing up and realizing that life's not always a walk in the park. This stage demands you to adapt, to toughen up, and face the music. Then, we hit the individuation stage, the grand finale. This is where you get to balance what you need and what the world throws at you. It's about finding your true self amid chaos and conflict. These stages are like growing up from being taken care of by your mom, to learning the hard rules from your dad, and finally, standing on your own 2 feet. So what's this got to do with attracting negativity? Well, if someone's stuck in that first stage, clinging to an ideal world and refusing to see the real one, they're setting themselves up as a magnet for trouble. It's like they're wearing a sign that says misfortune this way. They get tangled up with the wrong crowd and in messy situations, mostly because they're not willing to face reality. I know this might all sound a bit heavy, but don't worry, we'll break it down together. Stick with me and let's explore how moving through these stages can hatch that negativity and maybe even turn luck around. So into something I bet a lot of you are pondering. Alright, I've ditched those Edenic dreams and faced the tough reality. Does that mean I've cut off all ties to negativity? Well, you might think you've closed the book on those Edenic fantasies, but have you truly left them behind? This is where it gets real. Deep down, are you still setting the bar sky high with your expectations of the world? Here's a page from my own diary. When I first dived into the working world, boy, was I in for a surprise. I was all in for genuine, straightforward connections. But then, the insincerity of some folks just knocked the wind out of me. It left me wondering, why do human interactions have to be so twisted? If this rings a bell, feel free to share your story below. It's all about really peeling back the layers and seeing if we've actually moved beyond those Edenic fantasies or if we're just kidding ourselves. It's a tough realization, coming to grips with the fact that maybe, just maybe, we haven't fully embraced reality as we thought we had. Ever wondered why some folks fall head over heels for their doctors when they're sick, or why they crush hard on their teachers? It's because deep down they're chasing after that movie-style romance, living in a dream world of love stories. And why do some keep going back to their parents, even when it hurts like heck? It's because they're holding on tight to that picture-perfect idea of family and parental love. The hard pill to swallow. They can't face the heartbreaking possibility that their parents might not love them the way they need or want. It's all about the stories we tell ourselves, the dreams we're not ready to wake up from. It's tough, but recognizing this can be the first step towards finding what we're truly searching for. If you're sitting there thinking, those personal level fantasies aren't for me, well, you're not off the hook yet. There's something bigger at play here: collective dreams that many of us, especially the younger folks, are buying into. First up, there's this dream of comfort. It's this hope that somehow, some way, we can put an end to the chaos of our lives and find some peace and stability. Maybe it's the idea that getting into college or landing that first job will be the magic bullet. Then there's the wilderness dream. This one's all about breaking free, saying goodbye to all the rules and restrictions and finding freedom. It could be through an act of defiance, or maybe just packing up and hitting the road, quitting the job or living life on your own terms. But here's the catch: I call these dreams for a reason. People set their hopes so high they're bound to crash. When they charge ahead, chasing these dreams, they often find the reality pretty underwhelming, even a bit grim. It's a tough pill to swallow, realizing that these collective dreams might not hold up in the cold light of day, but recognizing this can be the first step toward grounding ourselves in what truly matters. As I bring this up, do you find yourself nodding along, recognizing those little fantasies and attachments you've got tucked away in corners of your life? It's pretty much a given. When you catch yourself with that kind of longing, the kind that puts everything in a perfect, glowing light, almost like you're putting it on a pedestal, that's when you've dipped into fantasy territory. I'm curious to hear about where you find yourself stumbling into these dreamscapes. What are those desires that color your world a bit too brightly? Drop your thoughts, your questions, and those daydreams in the comments. Let's get real about our fantasies together. Dreaming big and having expectations can actually be good for us at times. They're like fuel that propels us forward, giving us that nudge we need to refresh our lives. And it's a big but, when our expectations start to cloud what's real, leading us into thinking everything's rosy when it's not. That's where we hit trouble. This brings me to a crucial point. I want to discuss why these Edenic fantasies are so problematic. Let's look at a story from the Chinese book First Love Paradise, which paints a vivid picture. It tells us about teacher Li Guo, who, when looking for students to harass, had a strategy. He avoided the wealthy kids, knowing their parents could cause trouble, and he stayed away from the ones with strong personalities who might fight back or spread the word. His choice fell on Fantasies. The book describes her as delicate, lover of literature, someone who holds teachers in great esteem. Li saw her purity as a weakness, believing she wouldn't be able to handle anything unsavory. And sadly, he was right. When Fantasies found herself being manipulated, the pain was immense. She couldn't fathom that a teacher, someone she respected, could act in such a way. It left her wondering, was this supposed to be an act of affection? This story hits hard, showing us the dark side of holding on to naives and the dangers they can expose us to. When people hold on to deep fantasies about connecting with others, they often end up glossing over or idealizing their feelings. Instead of focusing on protecting themselves when they bump into not so great individuals, their first thought is to shield their loved ones. Someone with their feet firmly planted in reality might choose to step back from these kinds of situations, but those drifting in dreamland, they stick it out, driven by a curious hope that maybe, just maybe, there's something valuable hidden in all the mess. As a result, folks who put their own safety first tend to dodge the bullet, while those who put others ahead of themselves get caught in the crossfire. This isn't because the latter group is trying to put on airs or anything. It's more about their outright refusal to acknowledge the darker sides of life. But there's a twist in the tale, an even more damaging tendency towards self-denial. This is about convincing yourself that somehow you'll keep up the facade that the world is a fundamentally good place. The story of Fantasies from First Love Paradise painfully illustrates this. Caught between her dream world and the harsh light of reality, she tragically turned the blame inward. Despite the agony she went through, she never thought of holding her teacher accountable. Instead, she made the heartbreaking decision to end her life, a stark reminder of the dire consequences of clinging tightly to our illusions and not facing the truth head-on. A lot of us, when we step out of college and into the real world, get a rude awakening. Those Edenic dreams we had, they start to crumble fast. College is one thing, it's structured, rule-driven, but then you hit the real world and it's like stepping into a whirlwind. I'm talking about running into all sorts of problems, landlords trying to pull one over on you, co-workers spreading rumors, bosses not playing fair. When these things hit, our first reaction is often to blame ourselves. We wonder, did I not make myself clear? Or did I somehow invite this? Or was I just not careful enough? It's like we're trying to convince ourselves that if we just do everything right, we can avoid all the mess, to live in a perfect world. But here's the thing, that's just us denying the harsh reality. We want to believe we can dodge all the bullets, stuff happens because we slipped up. But the truth is, the world's got its fair share of chaos and nastiness, and no matter how hard we try, we're bound to run into it sooner or later. It's not about being perfect or always staying out of trouble. It's about facing that reality head on, learning from it and keeping on moving. Going through what we've talked about, you can see if someone can't face the harsh truths of life, can't shake off those Edenic fantasies, they're like a fruit ripe for the picking. Imagine a wrongdoer thinking, I'm the villain here, but I know I'll find you. And after I've done my worst, you won't even think to blame me. No, you'll turn it on yourself. To keep your dream world intact, you might even defend me. What a perfect target you make. This is exactly how negativity finds its way in and how innocence can become a curse. It's a harsh cycle where not facing reality makes one an easy mark for the very things they wish to avoid. Recognizing this pattern is the first step in breaking free from it and not becoming the unwitting accomplice to our own misfortune. Wrapping this up, there's a deeper question that might be nagging at the minds of the more contemplative among us. If holding on to these Edenic fantasies is dragging us down, why do we cling to them so tightly? Imagine, even if I laid it all out, showing you that what you're chasing is nothing but a mirage, and I pulled back the curtain to show you the mess behind it, you'd still hold on. Why? Because these fantasies play a crucial role in our worlds. Take, for instance, a scenario familiar to many, often observed in older generations. A wife wishes her inherently melancholic husband would become the life of the party. Despite years of grievances and attempts to mold him, she faces the harsh truth that he hasn't changed. Yet she persists, anchoring her hopes for happiness on him, believing that if only he would change, all would be well. But if she were to let go of these expectations, confronting the reality of who her husband is, she's left with daunting decisions. Continue in a marriage that's been a lifetime in the making, figuring out a way to coexist happily, or start new on her own. This scenario underscores the power of Edenic fantasies as a psychological crutch. They allow us to project our desires for a perfect life onto the world around us, sparing us the heavy lifting of confronting reality. Yet when we dare to question these fantasies, we're not just questioning our hopes and dreams, we're questioning the very foundation of our lives and relationships. It's a journey from illusion to reality, fraught with difficult choices, but it's also the path to genuine self-discovery and ultimately to a life in truth. The truth hits hard. Edenic fantasies do more than just sweeten our perception of life. They create a chasm between us and the green us and the gritty reality. These fantasies become a sort of escape hatch, letting us sidestep the real world's complexities and the weighty responsibilities that come with them. People lost in these dreams often doubt their own strength. They don't believe they're up to facing life's darker sides or navigating its tangled paths. It seems like they see only two choices: either carve out a niche in a make-believe paradise or spiral into self-pity, wondering why me, and nursing their wounds in a cocoon of poet despair. Choosing the first path, you are like a contented baby, blissfully unaware. Opting for the second, you become that same infant, but this time feeling abandoned and helpless. Either way, you're not in the driver's seat, you're waiting for life to happen to you. This is what Jung was getting at when he said true personality growth kicks off only as we step out of that fantasy bubble and let go of those Edenic daydreams. Many might argue that living in a fantasy feels magical, but I'd wager it's because they've never truly stepped beyond it. Sure, Eden offers a kind of peace, but it's infantile peace, dependent on everything being just so. The real world, though, it promises a peace that's earned, a tranquility that's heroic because it comes from within, from your own resilience and strength. Venture out of that dreamland into reality, and yeah, it'll be messy and challenging, but it's also where life gets vivid and deeply rewarding. Breaking free from the Edenic illusion means your story is really beginning. Cue the dramatic music and the words flash before you welcome to the real world. It's a journey from fantasy to truth, and it's where the real adventure lies. Alright, you think this is where we wrap things up, right? But no, we're diving deeper because my goal here isn't just to chat, it's to arm you with the tools for a bit of self-help magic. So buckle up, because I'm about to drop some gems on how to break free from the Edenic fantasy trap. Let's make this journey worth it. Step 1. Embracing the imperfect. Here's the deal: those perfect little bubbles we imagine, where everything's just peachy. They're illusions, and while they're cozy, they ain't the real deal. Life's messy, unpredictable, and that's where its beauty lies. Think back to a moment when reality gave you a rude awakening, shattering that perfect dream. Jot it down, stare it down. This is square one, where we get real with ourselves. Step 2. Finding beauty in what is. Guess what? Reality, with all its bumps and scrapes, is infinitely more fascinating than any fairy tale. It's in the laughter that comes from the belly, in the tears that speak volumes, and in the triumphs that come from true grit. For a week, each night, scribble down something real that touched your heart. Something authentic, something that made your day. Watch as the pattern unfold as rage trumps fantasy every single time. Step 3. Riding the waves like a pro. Ditching our fantasies means getting comfy with the idea that life's gonna challenge us. And we've got to be ready to face those challenges head on with a smile or a battle cry, whatever works. Identify a challenge you're up against. Brainstorm various ways to tackle it, no magic wands allowed. Choose a plan and act on it. Feel the power in steering your own ship. Step 4. Beyond the fairy tale. Our fantasies often paint a picture of flawless relationships. But let's get briefly beauty of relationships lies in their imperfections and shared struggles and in growing stronger together. Have a real talk with someone close to you. No pretense, no expectations, just pure, unfiltered you. It might be raw, it might be liberating, but it will definitely be real. Step 5. The real adventure. This whole trip, it's about personal evolution, about becoming more authentically us than ever before. Saying goodbye to Edenic fantasies doesn't mean giving up dreaming. It means dreaming with our feet on the ground. Carve out some time each week for a bit of soul searching. What have you learned about yourself? How have you faced life in its raw form? Applaud yourself for these moments. You're transforming, and no fantasy can hold a candle to that. In the tapestry of life, where every thread weaves its own unique story, it's easy to get lost in the enchantment of dreams. We've journeyed together through the shadow and light of our own making, navigating the delicate dance between what is and what could be. It's a path less travelled, marked by the footsteps of those brave enough to embrace their true selves, to find beauty in the raw, unfiltered essence of being. As we continue on this voyage, let's carry with us the wisdom gleaned from looking beyond the mirage, from seeking connection in authenticity rather than perfection. Remember, the most captivating stories are those steeped in truth, painted with the colours of real experiences, real struggles, and real triumphs. They are the stories that resonate, that remind us of our shared humanity, and that bind us together under the vast canopy of the human spirit. So, as we move forward, let's do so with open hearts and curious minds, eager to uncover the poetry in the everyday, the extraordinary and the ordinary. For it is in the genuine moments of connection, in the courageous acceptance of reality, that we find the most profound beauty and the deepest joy.